Cheers, everybody. Good morning. Mildly warm coffee. Awesome. At least if I drop it, it's not going to shatter, Graham. But I feel your pain. I broke another one of my Bodum cups 2 weeks ago. It's devastating when that happens.
Super chat!
What? Crazy boy. Thanks, mate. That's not necessary. Oh, where's my camera app? My camera app closed. Hang on a moment. And my logo's fuzzy. Let me see if I can fix that. Where's the focus? Here we go. Okay, we have focus. Yay. Thanks for that, crazy boy. Yes, I wish it could be, not Christmas. I wish it could be holidays every day. That'd be great. I could do with a holiday or 3. Just gonna see if I can just make the logo a bit clearer. There we go. Hi everyone. So, in typical fashion, my plans today got thwarted.
Kraziboy formerly Abdefg says, hey C and I have been unwell recently. Your videos have kept me company. Thank I once again for always making great content and keeping my...
Ran out was talking, keeping my brain active. I'll finish it for you. There's a limit on how much it can send. So to hear you've not been well. Is it something like serious, or is it like a COVID thing or a whatever? Plans were unexpectedly foiled. Yeah, well, it happened in a good way, so I can't really complain, but it's left me in a bad way, which, not just for the stream, I'll explain in a moment. So, yeah. There's lots to talk about, lots to... Ooh, where'd that box go?
Kraziboy formerly Abdefg says 211 centimeter tears to the muscles in the lower lumbar of my back.
No way. Oh, no way. That's a long recovery. How did you do that? Oh, that just makes me ill thinking about it. Sorry. Ouch, mate. Actually, we haven't seen Chris on here for a while. He's also got really bad back, lower lumbar issues. He had to have surgery a few times. You're a lot better now? Okay, good. I'm glad. But wow, that's nasty. That's debilitating. Like, it's one thing to being sick and being unwell, but that would just, yeah.
Kraziboy formerly Abdefg says how I missed a small wall, sat back too far and fell on my, then fell backwards onto a boulder in the small of my back.
Okay. Ouch. Sorry to hear. I'm glad you're on the recovery. That's good.
Kraziboy formerly Abdefg says self-inflicted stupidity.
Yeah, well, I'm first in line on that one, mate. I know it well. Everything in my life is self-inflicted stupidity, so... Okay, I'm going to say hi to folks in chat. Antonio, good morning, Yoba Prime. Hello, Christian. Hi. And I'm 1 over 25. What? Oh, 31 degrees. Wow, okay. Well, this morning's been the second morning in a row that I've not been able to see more than like 10 meters in front of me because of the fog outside. I actually love driving through fog. It's really cool. But, yeah, a bit dangerous. Shipu, hello. Mr. England, hi. Graham, Bodum Cup down. Or your last boat. Was it the last one? Jeez, how many are you breaking? Or did you only own one? See? Could be a trick. Dutch Taurus, hi. Joel42, hello. Beata, hi, good morning. Or evening. Sid, hello. Photochromax, hello. Crazy Boy already said hello. And again, thank you for the super chat. David Dessa, hi. Andre, hello. Alex Harvey, unexpected plans were unexpectedly foiled. Story of my life. Didier, hi. Where's Johnny? Don't know. Don't know where Johnny is. Playing with his Voltara, maybe. Who knows? I wonder if he's even turned that on since he did that video. I wonder. So, it's been an exciting. I shouldn't use the word exciting in this sentence. It's been anything but exciting from my point of view. But it's been. Is my audio clipping? Let me know if my audio is clipping. It looks like it might be a bit high. A lot has happened, I should say, over the last couple of weeks. My attempt to sleep in last stream week, which is why I didn't stream, didn't work. Long story, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. Yuz. I ended up being up early anyway, so I did not get to catch up on any sleep on that morning, but I was in no fit state to stream last week. I was borderline delirious in terms of just how tired I was and non-functioning I was. Hey Peter, good morning. Does Johnny like a drink? I don't know. Doesn't everyone? Except for Brian. I think Brian Locke's the only one I know that doesn't drink even a little. I'm not talking about excessive, but like I'll have a beer or whatever occasionally, very occasionally, because I don't go out much. But even water. No. Water's off the list. Whoa, that's strong stuff. We don't do water. No. I was about to say something totally inappropriate for my stream, but I didn't. I stopped myself. Anyway, so it's been eventful over the last couple of weeks. That stream aside, I'm just getting some stuff out of the way. So I did a few things. I can't even find them because they're so small. So
Reservoir formerly AppDef says nothing is inappropriate on YouTube. Lol.
Yeah, it is. Oh, where's my other one? I've lost one. It's so small, did it fall out? Oh, I've lost one of my little OMG boards. I wonder if it's at home or if it fell out of the box. Oh no! It's so tiny. Wow. Excuse me a moment while I try to hunt down a little tiny board. No. Okay, well, I'll put that aside. Seriously, where is it? Well, that's funny in a not funny way. Okay, well, yep, great. Good start. So I made my OMG board. Some of you might have seen the video. That's the version that's got USB connected to it, because I can't find the other one. Oh, I'm so annoyed. Like, it's either on my absolutely disgustingly messy desk somewhere here, which is possible, and I'd never be able to find it, like, ever, or it fell out of the box, or it's at home somewhere. I mean, it's really little, they're really little. Hang on, let me just get a, So, here's an unpopulated PCB. I've got small hands, right? We've discussed this, right? Like, I've got, for a guy, I've got small hands. And this is smaller than my little finger. Like, it's narrower than my little finger. Anyway, it's tiny. It's a little tiny board. And it's the bane of my life. It's soldered onto the USB breakout board. this version is soldered on just because I needed a way to test the board. But so it's 10 millimeters wide, which bit me in the ass with JLC. I'll talk about that later. Remind me if I forget, please, because I might forget. It's ants. It's ESP for ants. It's 10 millimeters wide and 25 long. And yes, I could have got it shorter, but diminishing returns. Anyway, this version that I built, which does work. Let me just unplug this. This is going to go bad. Okay, it does work. Woo. I've actually changed the version that's gone into production. Has it's changed a little bit. So the PCB is 1 millimeter thick. I didn't go thinner. My nanos are 0.8. I didn't go 0.8 because I want, like, people. One of the reasons I made this was people hand solder wires to my nano boards, which is pretty crazy. Where's my nano? Where's the nano? So that's my Nano S3, which was already pretty small. I can't even hold this. And there's my OMG S3. So it's much smaller again. People solder wires to this, but they're not really designed to solder wires to them because they've got castellated edges, but there's not pads on the bottom. It's not designed to be done that way. So with this board, I decided to not do castellations because they're quite expensive. Turns out I had to pay extra fees for something else, so worked out the same. I didn't do castellations, so it's got surface mount pads that can go onto a carrier board, but they're also hand solderable wires. I mean, they're tiny, sure.
Fartman says hello everyone.
Hello, Christian. The Nano is 0.8 because it's designed to go onto a PCB, like a carrier. I made this 1 millimeter thick because it's more robust for people who are hand soldering wires on. I didn't want them. The thinner you go, the more chance they're going to rip it apart when they're trying to put too much heat on the side. Also, changing my line to 0.8 or the solder stencil. The solder printer is a pain in the backside. And with the components, it's like, that's a good question. I can show you actually. I've got all this documented. Let me. So even though the board's not available yet, I might have already. Well, I did. I did this just in case.
Captain Kirk says hello humans.
Hello wagon loads. I've already got it on here. And so if you go to esp32s3.com, I've got it on here, and the size, maximum thickness is 2.6 millimeters with the components. So it's 0.2 millimeters taller. So my Nano is 2.4 millimeters. This is 2.6 because of the difference on the board. But going to 0.8 was just going to be a more headache than it was worth. So it turns out with JLC PCB that if any side of your board is less than 15 millimeters, you get charged a doesn't matter if you're V-scoring or mouse bites or routing or whatever, it doesn't matter. You get charged a penalty. You get charged like an extra $15 something because it's hard to handle. It's just a blanket of, hey Dave, how you doing? So I got one of those supplemental charges, and there's nothing I could do about it. Unfortunately, it's not just my OMG board, it's any add-on board that I'm making for it, like my USB connector board, because that's also 10 millimeters wide to match. So I've started this thing now where anything I do with this is going to be that's the same thickness, same width is going to get hit with this fee, which is really annoying. Really annoying. Their documentation on their website about how their fees work suggests that both sides have to be less than 10 millimeters, not one side. It doesn't say if either side, but you know, English translation from a Chinese company, they say it's either. I say the documentation reads that if it's an and, not an either, not an or, but anyway. So the boards have gone into production at JLC finally, and yeah, that's pretty exciting. The other thing with the board is I ended up having, so I wanted it to be a cheaper board than the Nano. So the Nano S3 is more expensive than it could be because of the cancellations. I wanted the OMG S3 to be cheaper, but unfortunately, so with that fee, and also the fact that I designed myself into an expensive problem, it's going to turn out to be maybe $1 cheaper, like really not cheaper like I wanted. So I thought I'd do the right thing and not break out any oh, that's wrong. They're all they're ADC1. Wait, 1, 2. Oh no, they're not. Sorry, that I didn't want to. I wanted to break out all the ADC1 pins, and not use any ADC1 pins for any internal stuff. Because, as many of you know, when the ESP32 radio is used, ADC2 is not usable, right? So if you have anything connected to one of those I/O that you want to use an ADC for, and you turn the radio on, you can't get data out of it properly. So I exposed all the ADC1 pins, and then I realized that I can't put my battery voltage divider on there to read the approximate voltage of the battery. So I put a fuel gauge on instead, an I2C fuel gauge. So it's got a Max 1704, 048, sorry, and which of course upped the price. The other thing I did is I used a Pico, an S3 Pico chip. So it's got flash, 8 meg of flash and 2 meg of PS RAM built in instead of external, and doesn't need an external crystal. Turns out the Pico chip is more expensive than the individual. Like if I buy like on my tiny S3, it's got an S3 FN8, so it's got 8 meg of flash internally, and then I've got 8 meg of PS RAM externally, and a crystal externally, and all the extra things I need to drive all of those works out to be 30% cheaper than buying a Pico chip. I don't know why or how Espresso's pricing, what they've done with this chip. So the BOM cost for the components is like $6 more, $5 more, no, almost $6 more than my Nano. So it turns out it's not a cheaper board to make, which is frustrating. My email is blowing up, if you can hear that pinging. But anyway, it's a cute little board. And you know, I think I've nailed the smallest ESP32 board in the market moniker now finally, which is I guess one of the reasons I did it. Anyway, specs are on there, whatever. That's my OMG S3, that is coming. And then I did do my new, do you see that? That was freaky. Let me see if I can find, I did an updated USB board because the one that I did, I realized I didn't break out any buttons. So how do you do, hey Mad Techie, how do you do IO0 and reset? So with my new board, where's my, Right. This one. I updated the USB board now. Oh, why'd that go funny? I don't know. So it's now got buttons on it. It's a little bit longer. And it's got holes in it if you want to stick. Okay, so the other thing I did was I've changed. My board wasn't 1.27 millimeter pitch. It was 1.4 to make it easier to hand solder. But I went back to 1.27 millimeters to standardize it. Might be. No. It's the same as putting a. You think I've got one? It's the same as like putting a ESP32 mini on a board. Hang on. Like, this is my original prototype of my bling board. But that mini, that's no castellated edges on that. It's pretty standard these days that you've got packages that are just pads on the bottom. So no problem doing that. It's pretty standard. You can get, is it WSL? I think can't remember what the name of the package type is. Yeah, so anyway, so that's the updated USB. I have ordered custom pogos, which is daunting and exciting. Company I've not dealt with before. Thanks, Richard, for putting me in touch. Richard's probably not online at the moment. That's okay. Richard Fry. He did an intro, and I've ordered some custom pogos that will fit these. Should go back to that. That'll fit these. This image here doesn't have the 1.27 millimeter pitch, but they're all 1.27 millimeter pitch now. And so once I've confirmed the pogos are okay, I'm also going to. So I'll have. These USB boards I'll put in my store if people want them, and they can be used not just for the OMG. I mean, they're like a little programmer really, or for they don't have a serial UART on them, but whatever. Anyway, the there's no breadboards. No, it's 10 millimeters wide. Wagon loads. No, absolutely not breadboard spacing. It's half the width. Like breadboard is 0.1 inch or 2.54 millimeters. These are 1.27 millimeters, so they're double the density. Once I've confirmed the pogos are okay, because I need the pogos for my adapter board for my test jig for it, then I will also make a pogo based programming board for them that I don't know if I'll put them in my store, but I'll put the KiCad design files for them online if someone wants to. Maybe I'll put them in my store, I don't know. So there'll be a carrier board reference design, and there'll be the design for the Pogo version of the carrier board. So for those people that want to be able to stick their board in something to flash it and test it before they put it on something else, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, so that's my OMG. That's exciting. That was pretty cool. The other thing I did was I built my first storage shield. So for those, is that upside down? Can't tell. That's not in focus. So storage shield. So this is a shield that has both an SD card on it and a 4-bit, as in 4-lane, eMMC chip on there, a 16 gigabyte eMMC. So it means that you can, although you can technically use this in SPI mode on an MCU that doesn't support MMC, like the C6 for instance, the S2, the C3, all of those chips don't have an MMC host controller peripheral, so you can't directly talk to eMMC or talk to SDIO, like high-speed SDIO, but you can technically still use 1-bit SPI on them, just be much slower. You still get the storage space. But if you've got an ESP32 S3 or an original ESP32 or the new P4 or whatever, or any other MCU that has MMC support, you've got basically 40 megahertz, 16 gigabyte eMMC. And on the actual, so they've gone into production again, the PCBs, and on the back of those ones, I've actually put a little tick boxes for 32 or 16. I'm probably going to make a couple, I don't know how many, 32 gig versions. I mean, technically I can put any size I want because eMMC is eMMC. So that package there, which is 16 gigabytes, you can get a, 64, 128 gigabyte version. It's the same size package, the same pins. So I don't know how much empty space is in that if it's just got 16, but whatever. So, but I'm going to do mostly a 16 gigabyte version of them. So that's exciting. It's also got a battery connector on it. So whatever. And that works. So yay for that. Now, Tiny Watch, which what I was going to show you and maybe do some stuff with today, which I now can't for reasons, which I'll get to in a moment. Bad timing. I was just in the expressive. Okay, take a step back. I've sold out of Tiny Watches, which is cool. It's not like hundreds of them, right? I think 25 maybe I sold in the last week. So it's nice. I'm not retiring anytime soon. That's okay. But I've sold out. Unfortunately, in the process of selling out, I discovered that I had 2 dead screens in my trays of screens. So I oversold how many Tiny Watches I had, which left me in a situation where I had to take my screen out of my watch, my development watch, and ship that, which is a perfectly good screen. Obviously, I've been developing with it, but it's left me with no screen. Right, so it got picked up on CNC Linux, and then it got picked up on Hackster.io, and then yesterday it was in Espressive's email, which was nice. Thank you, Espressive. Bad timing, because I've got no stock. I ran out on Monday night, and then Tuesday the email came out. So my hold up right now is screens. They're supposed to be shipping today. There's been a bit of a delay and a bit of a pain getting screens. The company I buy screens from, which is the only company I found that has a reasonable price and don't require me to order 1,000 screens at a time, tried bumping the price big time on me. Had a bit of an argument, back and forward, whatever. We finally came to an agreement, and so they're supposed to be shipping today. But until I get screens, I can't make more watches, which is a hassle, because until I get screens, I have no watch of my own, which has kind of stifled development a little bit. So to show you what my state of my watch right now, so this is my watch right now, and so this is the P7. This is the prototype P7, which there was no point in me using a non-prototype. I'll keep using the prototype, which is exactly the same as the final board, except I took off the battery connector, so you hand solder the battery on, because that saved a lot of space. So this does work. I don't know if the battery's dead or not. It might not be, but the problem is this screen is one of the busted ones. So as you can see, it works, but see that? Yay. So it's not on the board here, it's the screen, the cable in here is damaged. There's a scratch on the cable. It's getting replaced. So I had 2 bad screens. The guys agreed to replace both of my screens. There is no compatible screen of a different size. So it's got to be this driver, this touch IC, it's got to be capacitive touch, and there isn't one. Like it, yeah. And it's got to be exactly the same 18-pin connector with the same pin out. So, and there isn't. I could get a screen without touch, but then I can't use it. So, it's yeah. So it's great on the marketing side, Andre, except just really bad timing because I have no watches to sell. So, yeah, it makes it very hard to use when it just keeps turning on and off. I think it could just be the backlight, but obviously I can't do anything about it. I mean, I'd have to pull everything of the screen apart to try to find out what it is, and I don't even know if I could solder a wire small enough or whatever. So that's thrown a spanner in the works. Now the thing is though, I have one watch here that was supposed to ship out today. And part of me wants to pull it apart, like open it to use it to show you some stuff, because the other thing I've been doing over the last, I don't know how many days, is I've done a lot of work on the firmware. So I go on and off the firmware all the time just because I've got other things to do. And so I did some really cool things on the firmware the other day, which I wanted to show you, and I thought I could do some more today on stream, but I don't have a workable watch. Can you patch the ribbon with? No, it's can you not see the ribbon? It's not on this end of the ribbon. It's at the, hang on. It's in here. Well, I can't do it under that camera. So this is a dead screen. This one doesn't work at all. It's inside there. It's in here. Like there's a scratch just along inside there. And I'm assuming it's the scratch. Either way, I would have to. Look, this doesn't work anyway. Hang on, I'm gonna pluck it if I can. See if I can pull the backlight off. Ooh, okay. So there's the backlight. I just ripped this screen apart. Doesn't work. Right. So that's the backlight and the screen. So it could just be the backlight, but it's in there. It's that cable just inside here. How do I do this under that camera? The camera's really low. It's on a little tripod here. Okay. It's just here where it's damaged. And so I'd have to pull the screen apart to do it. No guarantee when I put the screen back together it's going to be okay, like it's going to work. So anyway, but maybe I'll pull this other one apart, as in I'll open this, because there's other stuff that I've done. So I've never been overly happy about the case that I ship. It works. And I've been trying to come up with a way to make a millable case. So I really want to make at least one millable case. And so I came up with a new design for a case. This is supposed to be millable, or it is millable, but then I realized I can also make this my updated 3D printed case. So this is the updated design. Let me just turn this off. So, for those of you that have got a watch or have experienced the case, bad as a chip with the pins broke off at the case. Yeah, it's not really. It's not fixable. Like I'd probably end up doing. Like I'd probably melt the cable connectors at the point of the screen by trying to fix it. So these buttons. Just to show you, they slot in place and they kind of stay there, which is nice. They don't fall out when you're trying to get everything together. Too many operations. We'll talk about that. Too many, which is why I haven't done it yet. But this case is designed. So my other case is in two halves. My other case, as you can see here, is in 2 halves. Wait, that's not it. Try it again. Okay, so okay, this is the current case, and there's the back section, and there's the front section, and the split is right down the middle, right where through the USB and through the buttons. So in the new version, the split is actually, turn the buttons off. So there's the back and there's the front. The split is behind. So the whole body, like the buttons and USB and everything, goes together there, and then the back is that. And by doing that, I can actually now put 4 screws in it. There's no more clicking of the screw of the 2 halves together and 1 screw. So in my current design, there's only 1 screw holding it together, as you can see here, and the rest of it uses these little tabs in the 3D print. But they can snap off. I've got them as strong as I can, but they can snap off. This was only ever supposed to be a temporary thing to ship the screens and boards in, because they can get damaged during shipping, right? They're quite fragile. So I ship everyone with one of these, because you can then just plug it in and play with it, but it also protects it. But I've now got 4 screws on the back. And so the advantage of doing this is on this version, this section here, which was part of the back, that was a bitch to print. Excuse my language, I'm sorry, a biatch. This was a biatch to print, right? I'd lose 1 out of every 6 prints where it would just rip off this section here. So I'm using now multi-material PLA and PETG, using PETG for the interface on the supports, so the materials don't stick, but I would still lose a lot, and it was fragile. So when you put your watch band in, like, I mean, it works. Let's go here. It does work, but if you pull, you can break it, whatever. But it definitely works. Like, I wore this for days like this, right? But with the new design, I actually only finished this design last night, so I'm pretty happy, and I printed it overnight, and I'll show it to you in a second. The new design uses 4 screws and no clips, and it cuts right through the join. So as you can see here, when I print it, that gets printed on its face here, and this doesn't need any support, and this gets printed on its back here, and doesn't need any support there, and then they come together for the clamp, and what you end up with is this. I did it in red because why not? So you might be able to see the buttons are in there. If I push them, they're going to fall out, right? So the buttons get held in place with the PCB when it's inside, and it's all held together with 4 screws at the back, so it can't come apart. And the screen press fits in quite. Johnny's here. Hello. The screen press fits in quite firmly. I mean, there's no guarantee it won't come out if you whack it hard enough. The idea is the screen's supposed to be glued on, and then the PCB is supposed to be double-sided taped to the back of the screen. Let me just. Okay, so this is the old design, right? This is my watch that's broken. Forget about the battery. So the PCB is supposed to actually be attached to the screen, and the screen is on that side. You can see the screen turning on and off there. And so that's what's supposed to lock it together. The screen's supposed to be glued in. But I don't do that when I ship it, because if someone wants to pull it apart, do something else with it, I don't want to have the screen glued in. I recently tried some solderable M6 nuts on my design. Yeah, so I can't use solderable nuts on mine. I've got a whole range here of M2 size. I know you can get smaller. The way the solderable nuts work, I can't do. So firstly, they require a hole in the PCB, which I can't do. Well, I can only on one place, but the nuts are designed to be on the opposite side of the PCB. So when you screw through the PCB into the nut, and when you tighten it, it pulls the screw and the PCB together. But I can't do that because I've got a screen against the PCB, right? So my solderable nut has to be on the other side, which means when you screw into it, if you screw too tight, it rips off the nut off the PCB. It'll crack the solder and pull it off. I've tried. It doesn't take a lot of force to do it either, unfortunately. It's like when you put an insert nut in your 3D print this way, and then instead of screwing that way, which pulls the nut in and locks it, you screw this way, and it can, if you tighten it too much, it can pull the insert nut back out of the 3D print. Now, to be fair, that's what I'm doing on this print here. So there are insert nuts on this side, what you screw into. So you're not screwing into plastic, you're screwing into insert nuts, but you're screwing them into the side that they've been pressed, because I can't press them from this side. If I press them from this side, then when you put the screen on, you'll see big chunks missing from the outside of the thing, right? Yeah, exactly the same with the press fit, right? They're designed the direction you put them in is not the direction you screw from. You've got to screw from the other side, and that tightens it all together. So that's the problem with the using the solderable nuts, and they do require a hole. I tried doing them without a hole, and yeah, if you have them there without a hole and you tighten the nut ever so slightly, crack, almost instantly, and it comes off. So yeah, that sucks. Is there a pop rivet type nut that would work on a PCB? You're going to put a pop rivet through a PCB? Yeah, no. And again, it won't. I can't do that. The screen has to be flush on the PCB, no gap. So there can't be a rivet there. Dude, even a little miniature riveting tool, which I don't even know if they make, on fiberglass, on a PCB, you'll crack the fiberglass. Like that type of force. Yeah, that'll be bad. In my case, the thin screw hold is braced against the nuts themselves. Right, okay, well, it depends on the design. In my case, if I didn't have a screen directly against it, it wouldn't be a problem. I've got exactly the same thing with another... one day I have to show you this... Oh my god. No, too soon. This secret project I've been working on for ages, this thing that I tweeted about a while ago, that you could touch it and it lights up, which is sitting on my desk right here. It's got exactly the same problem I've had, exactly the same design issue, where I needed to attach a PCB, and I thought the solderable nuts would be the solution, but they're not, because of the whole crack it off when you go. No, not busted. I didn't want to show it until it's ready. The hardware's ready. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get there on that. But anyway, so I've designed this. As I said, I only printed this overnight, the final design, and it's pretty good, and it works, and like it's held in. I'm sure if I pull really hard, I can pull them out. But it requires way less support to print, and it's a way cleaner print, and it also looks a bit nicer. I don't have, where's the top? Do I have another top? No. Let me just disconnect the battery. Let me see if I can just put this together quickly without the buttons. Okay, so it just looks nicer. Like that's got kind of a square, not square, but you know what I mean, like a tapered, big at the bottom. This is more of an Apple-y watch type. It's much rounder. Looks a bit nicer. Yeah. So, but I've got nothing to put in it, which really sucks, unless I open this up, which I don't want to do because I've got to ship this out today. Could you imagine if I damaged it? Like I cannot, I've got no more screens. So the few screens that I broke myself early on, when I first started playing with the watch and I was a bit rough with the screens, and I'm regretting it now. I probably destroyed 3 screens early on, and yeah, I wish I had those screens now, but I don't. So one of the cool things I added firmware-wise though, so the ones I'm shipping right now have got the latest firmware on there, and then there's an updated firmware people can install. Amongst all the other things I've done is you can now have as many Wi-Fi stations as you want connected. So if you move around, like between office and home, and they're on different networks and whatever, you can have them all on there. And I'm not using the that built-in multi-scan, whatever it's called, multi-connect thing, which isn't what you want to use. The thing that Espressif have got. This works based on last successful connection. It'll try that one first, and if it can't connect to that, it'll then go through the list. Espressif's one, it does a scan first, and then it tries to connect to the strongest RSSI one it can find, which is stupid because it might not even be the network you want. And you know what I mean? Like it could be someone else's network. It could be like when I do a scan, all my 3D printers, not 3D printers, my label printers pop up because they're all Wi-Fi based. You know, all my test jig devices pop up. So, and you can't filter. You can't say this is a list that I don't want to connect to. So it just tries them all, which, you know, can take forever to connect. Anyway, move on. I wish I could show you some stuff. I've started adding theming, color palette themes. So you'll be able to create your own color palette themes for your watch displays. And anyway, whatever. I know Mantic says show it, but yeah, I don't know. No, not quite ready. There's something similar to pop rivets that use lawn chair straps. Yeah, no. Again, no. Firstly, wagon loads never on a PCB. You can't put any mechanical force at all on them when you're doing that. And secondly, we're talking about M2 size. So M2 is 2 millimeters. I'm pretty sure those things are not 2 millimeters. Or the insert nuts are, you know, 3 millimeters because of the extra gap. Like, yeah, no, totally the wrong things for this. Sorry. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. I now have one spare watch, but it's got to go to another customer. So this watch, not this one, there was another one down there for an order that's going out today. Anyway, whatever. I'm still not going to pull it apart. What were you doing on the Linux CNC forum? Who? I wasn't on the Linux CNC forum. Wait, so back to just someone asked me about the operations. So yeah, so I already started here, but I broke it into a new project because it was hang on, go away. So I started working on doing some toolpaths. So the problem is with this, there's a lot of operations, and it's gonna require at least one, if not two, sets of soft jaws. So the first pass would have to be drilling these out. So from the square block, why is that showing me? Where's the clear? I don't want to be... Show me the simulate, but exit. Why is it still showing me a simulate? Okay, whatever. Wrong size stock. But the first one's going to have to be from a square stock, drilling these holes here, or whatever, however that's going to work. But without any of the chamfering, and potentially doing these holes here, and then flip over and do this one while it's still square. So that's 2 operations with multiple tools just there, right? But without the chamfer, I couldn't see how you could chamfer. It couldn't be chamfered yet. And then it would have to be, I don't know, whether the inside would cut out as a second operation, as a third operation, before I do the outside. I don't know. It's going to need a lot of different steps. I really want to make one for me, but that's all I'd make. Like, I wouldn't be offering to sell them at all. But if I can confirm that it works and it fits, and the tolerances are all correct, and it's usable, then I can, I'll put the 3D file up online, and if people want to send them to JLC PCB or PCB way to get them milled, or design a fixture. I know what I mean by. Right, that still won't work. It still won't give me enough. Like, I'm still going to have soft jaws to do the final side. So, and yeah, it's that's not my concern. The concern is how I'm going to the order of operations. Like, everything is curved, right? So, it's not a matter about how I'm going to hold it. Or as in how I'm going to reference points. That's okay. Lots of ways to do that. The issue is I don't even know. Like, I could see myself getting halfway through milling it and realize that I've milled it in the wrong order, because now I can't do blah 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 whatever like I thought I could, and then I'd have to start again from scratch. And the other problem is I don't have any thick enough stock, so I'm gonna have to get some custom stock. So the stock that I got to do this was thick enough, but it actually turns out that I had to make the watch a little bit thicker, and that has meant now that I don't have stock that's thick enough by about 1.2 millimeters or so. So that's a bit annoying. The other thing I just want to point out is that, and the reason the size and shape is because, where's my other one? It was designed to, and the reason the screw holes are where they are and everything else, because it was designed to fit a battery neatly in there between the screw guides, with enough clearance to get everything else in without squeezing everything together and puncturing the battery. So, yeah. Anyway. So I haven't started playing with milling yet. Like, what I should just do is get a piece of material and mill out just this first section, which is what I started doing. What I figured was, if I just milled out this bit here, and I can confirm that the screen fits properly in there. Because if the screen fits properly, that's the first step. It's got to fit in and not fall out, but it's got to not get damaged going in. And it's got to hold it there. And with plastic, that's easier because plastic is malleable, but the metal isn't. So I'm scared I'm going to damage screens, And I also don't want the screens to get damaged if people try to remove them. There's foam. That is great. Yeah, I've got both ABS and can't remember the name of the other stuff here that I could do it with. Doesn't have to be out of metal. That's fine. But I need to do out of metal to confirm the screen fit, and that pushing the screen out won't rip the screen apart, and the screen won't fall out. And doing that again, doing it in any type of plastic or foam. No, it wasn't Duron. It was the other one. The stuff. What's it called, Peter? Can never remember the name of it. That very first cut I did. I can't remember what it's called. Duron's really expensive. Yeah. I would definitely not do it out of metal to get the operation right. Corian, thank you. I've got some leftover corian that might be a big enough chunk, potentially. But as I said, it's not working out the order of operations and getting it all, whatever. That's the second challenge. The first challenge is, do I have, like this, I have to do it on this version now because it's slightly different. But is this edge here that the screen fits into, that has to be exactly perfect. Exactly perfect. And I would say cutting this shape out of plastic will give me a different result to cutting it out of metal in terms of what's going to happen to the screen if I insert it into metal or not, right? So I've got offcuts, thanks to Peter. It doesn't need much. It just needs to be the shape. It can only, it can be 1 millimeter thick. Doesn't matter. I just need to put the screen into it and see if the screen stays. And if I try to push it out, see if it falls out or see if it gets caught and rips apart as I pull it out, right? I happen to have a few dead screens I can try that with, which is good. So, yeah. Epoxy tooling board. Okay. There's lots of options, I guess, for doing, yeah, Collinator, no, we're not mounting anything to the 6-axis arm, ever. For those that are curious, I finished the arm. It doesn't work. It has a fundamental flaw on the B and C axis, which prevents it from being usable, and another one of my MKS boards on the XYZ on the A axis died. Isn't working anymore. So that's my third board. So I picked up the robot and I put it over there, and I'm more inclined to pull it apart than I am to ever work on it again, just being honest. But after that stream 2 weeks ago where I said I'm done, I did spend more time on it. I mean, I'll show you, it looks cool, but it doesn't work. Oh my god, that's heavy. Where can I put it? But you can see, it's even on some wood to steady it. Can everyone even see that? So, all the axes are on. I even made an attachment. Check this out. Logitech camera. I made an attachment that I could have a camera on it. Oh, this big, seriously is heavy. See? Camera mount. For you to move it around. But this whole axis up here, which actually is all wired correctly now, you can't home it. You can't home this section without crashing this section. It's a fundamental flaw in the open loop design of this which I brought up on the Discord server, and let's just say I have left that Discord server. Yeah, I'm kind of like I'm over this version of the project. I'm not on that server anymore, and I'm not really looking at the community there to solve this. If I ended up ever solve this, I'll be redesigning this whole section here because it's fundamentally flawed. And then this axis here doesn't work anymore. It was working and now it doesn't. And it's, oh my god, I can't even hold this. It's this stepper section in here. And of course, to get this out, I need to pull all this apart again. And I've decided I'm not doing that for the 50th time. So the robot goes in the naughty corner. Naughty corner. And the truth is, it's too big. It's absolutely too big and heavy. Like there's no place I could put it that you could operate it. Like it needs a baseboard like this big to not tip over. It's too big. So maybe I'll look at making something smaller, designing something smaller, or not. I don't know. Yeah, Graham, robots in the naughty corner. Very naughty corner. I think it takes some more months before it starts to be useful. Yeah, it's if I went the open loop build, it was all solvable. But the nature of the closed loop and the MKS build.
HMS says my house is full of naughty corners lol. I should bin most.
I don't have enough corners. So, yeah. I'm not going to bin it. There's a lot of cool stuff in there I could pull off and reuse. But, yeah, like I must have reprinted. So, over the last 2 weeks, before I abandoned, like by the time I got it to that stage, I probably reprinted 50% of that whole A, B, C section. Redesigned myself because the design files just did not work. Like, absolutely did not work. And it can't be a printer tolerance issue because they were all printed on the same printer. So if it was a tolerance issue, they'd all have the same thing. But I even printed, do I have it still? I printed a whole bunch of test shapes, right? So that I know that looks a bit weird, but that's a test shape that allows me to measure X, Y, Z at a bigger scale, at a little scale, and then that section there, right? And this is within 0.02 or 0.03 millimeters. Like, it's not my printer. My printer is printing square. Things just wouldn't fit. So I redesigned so many parts, reprinted, wasted so much filament, finally got it all together. Yeah, I'm done with it. One side is mirrored, but the other was skimmed later on, and then mirrored one not. Yeah, there's all discrepancies in some of the parts and stuff. Look, it is what it is. It's, yeah. Like I even redesigned a bunch of stuff to use brass insert nuts. I think I mentioned that on my stream a couple of weeks ago. Like I got everything moving, and I spent a couple of days on the software, spent a stack of time on the software, made it really much easier to use, kind of made it kind of English, like where you can just, on the one command line, you can send multiple messages to multiple steppers of any type of command, and then rather than putting, trying to remember all the numbers and stuff, like you can just go, move X 45 or 4,500 steps, and that would do a relative move, or you could say set Y whatever, and it would do an absolute position, and you could read data back, and you could tell them to home, and all sorts of stuff. But it kept crashing, trying to home and breaking 3D parts. And every time it broke, I had to pull the whole section apart and redo it. And then A axis just stopped working. And yeah, that was it. If it's done it twice, so the second one rotated 90 degrees, would it measure the same? Yeah, I did a proper thing. It's not my printer. There's just, yeah, some things in the design were just a bit not accurate. Yeah, a lot of mirroring that happened, and one side was adjusted and the other side wasn't adjusted, and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm really keen to have, I don't have the time right now to design a robot from scratch, and I don't really have the motivation to redesign parts of this to fix it when, yeah, I think that that top section is completely overkill. It's got two planetary gearboxes driving one axis. I know it's a differential, but the rotation at the top doesn't need a planetary gearbox. It's just rotating an item, and possibly the weight bearing of the up and down might, but it doesn't require two, and the complexity of two. Anyway, so that's the status on the robot. Naughty corner. He looks cool, but I don't think he's ever going to go beyond that. And the MKS boards, they're just not reliable. Or not from my experience anyway. I think it's just the wrong design. It's the wrong fit for this thing. I would like to go back to Otis now, though. I've learnt a lot, but the issue with Otis was always the camera software, more so than controlling the actual arms and stuff. I got all the arms moving. I don't know if I ever mentioned, I did actually solve why I couldn't use the stall detection. Do you remember I couldn't get stall detection working on that? And I wanted to do no limits, no physical limit switches. I wanted to do stall detection. So it turns out that the drivers I was using were hard configured for step and dir. Even though I was trying to tell it to move, not using step and dir, to use the software directly, the TMC driver directly, internally it was just translating step and dir, and it wouldn't accept any other commands, which means my stall guard wouldn't work. So I worked that out when I was doing my conveyors, and I adjusted all of the conveyors, although I'm not using crash detection on there, but I actually got crash detection working, where I could have a stepper spinning, and if I grabbed the stepper, that stall would trigger a thing. So I can actually go back now and do no limit, no hard limit, no physical limits on Otis, and use the stall detection again. I just had to modify the little driver things. I solved that ages ago, but I didn't want to go, because all my conveyors are set up and working, I didn't want to go and retrofit all those and pull the limit switches off. Because each one would need unique settings for the stall detection, and it's working as it is. I just wanted to leave it alone. Yeah. Trying to think what else there is to tell you. It's just been pretty flat out getting all this stuff, getting the boards and stuff ready for JLC, and could use center axis, center index. Center indexed. I don't know what that means. It's not a closed loop thing, so it doesn't know where it is. It's for a stepper to know where it is, it needs to know what its limits are. That's what you do. You home a stepper, and when it's homed, then you can work out where the center is. So yeah, like even in a closed loop, when you first turn it on, it still needs to understand where, like you can, even if it stores where it thinks it was last time, not necessarily a safe thing to do if it can be moved by accident, but ultimately at some stage it must be homed first to be able to do that. So anyway, it's all a solved thing. I just I don't have a need of Otis really, so it's hard to get motivated to get back on that. So I was playing around with this a while ago. I don't know how I'm going to show this. This is a bit of a... So Michael put all this wiring together, which is cool. Which I don't know if I can plug. Let me see if I can plug a USB in. So the purpose of this was twofold. Let's see if this works. May work, may not. What? Right, no. Oh, I've got different software on it. Okay, the purpose of this was to get a camera working on a screen. That's just showing an image. Look at the backlight. That white bit, that's backlight. Anyway, which is flickering on and off. The point is, Michael was interested in playing with the camera, which he did, and he got the camera going. And I was interested in playing with nicer quality TFTs with touch. So this is a cap touch screen, a 3.5 inch screen, and it's got an interesting problem. Now let me just unplug it. Let me get it off the adapter if I can without pulling the wires out. Okay, it's off the adapter. Let me just move it over to here. So there's no point in me doing it. I was doing it really for shits and giggles because there's so many cheap ESP32 S3 based screen products on the market now. But I was playing with just making a, nope. Yep. Oh, I was making an ESP32. I wanted to make an ESP32 with a really nice, large, capacitive touch TFT. And this is an IPS screen, so it's quite a nice screen. Not a cheap screen. It's not AMOLED, but it's a bit of a splotch on it. But it's definitely a nicer screen than these regular crappy things, right? Which have got no color contrast to them. The problem with this is, look at I'm gonna get my hand underneath the camera. Look at the way the controller goes, the ribbons. How do you put a connector for that when that ribbon's in the way? I mean, other than twisting, putting a connector on an angle. Like if you look at where the cable goes, to have this plugged into a PCB, you'd have to have a connector under a connector. No, it's not about hole through the board. Hang on. Where do I just need let me get a PCB. I mean, anything, it doesn't matter. Here we go, here's an Otis board. Yay. So you've got a board here, oops. And then you've got this connected, so it can't be, not about it through. I mean, it could go through in here, and then this one could go on the outside. But it's quite a weird way they've done it. I'm not saying it can't be solved. put the board over A and B side of the PCB. What? Slide the... No, no, can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, you can do that. Why would I want to do that? That's a terrible idea, Alex. Firstly, that's not solderable. That needs a connector. See? So if I put a connector on this side of the PCB, then it doesn't sit flush. Right? There'd be a connector there. So there'd be a gap. I don't want a gap there. These are a piece of foam. Okay. Well, that's okay. I just think that's weird. Like, I would definitely not want to do that because that would, putting it together would be problematic. Like, anyway, like in terms of an assembly point of view, maybe not for a manual line in China, but for me, like I don't want to be messing around with trying to connect a screen to a connector this way before I stick it together and then put it together and then, but I guess I could do that. Okay. Like I designed my PCB. I've designed a PCB for this, but I haven't got it made. I was actually literally just going to do that. I was going to put it on an angle. I can't remember what angle it was. I did it. And I was going to have just two connectors like that. But I thought that was just weird. Like, okay, it makes sense it was supposed to be sandwiched. But, yeah, it turns out there's no point. Because you can buy those, what are they called? The cheap yellow screen boards now and stuff. They're so cheap. Like, they're almost as cheap as I can buy the screens for. So, you know, I thought about doing like a nice high-end IPS cap touch kind of product, kind of like, you know, so yeah, hang on. Dustin was doing the same thing, like, you know, so Dustin Watts with his touchdown that he made, which is what I'm using for the controller for my conveyors. He did the same thing. He was working on a more advanced ESP32 S3 version, and he abandoned his as well because neither of us can compete with price on the people in China just doing cheap stuff in China. So, alright, so the way Deshipu said, he suggested this. That's also a very hard thing to assemble. But yes, I could do that. So that's the other way. Oh, hang on, you can't see that. Sorry, my bad. 1 second. Deshipu said this. Do it like that. So a slot, one screen goes through and connects, and the other one goes through. Yeah, that's definitely doable. That means I don't have to have the gap. Either way, the point is, it's just not worth doing it. It's just, you know, if you're, where's, 1 second, AliExpress, yeah, cheaper. That's what I like the idea of not having a slot. That kind of really wrecks the layout of the PCB and stuff, which is why I thought I'd do that twist thing. But yeah, that could work as well. ESP32 S3 screen. Right, so you look at these. So these yellow ones, right? ESP32 HMI, whatever. It's a 480 727. That's a weird resolution. Cap Touch RGB screen, $20. You know, here's a wider one here, $11. Like it's just not worth. $26, 4.3 inch smart display touchscreen. Don't know if that's Cap Touch or not. 4.3. Like, you know, there could be shit screens. Who knows? Right? But everyone's doing them now, right? 4-inch smart display, Cap Touch, $30. Like, these screens cost me $14 each. They're IPS, right? So they're much nicer than others. And also, a lot of these, they say they're Cap Touch and they're not. They're resistive. But anyway. Hey, Pro Engineer. So there's just no point. So yeah. Look at them all. Another one. 2.9 inch. $15. And all the Lily Go stuff. 4.3 inch, 28. Yeah. Not worth it. Not worth it. Yeah, Maker Fab's one as well. They did one of the original ESP32 ones, and then they've got an NS3 one as well, and so Maker Fabs have got, Electro have got, then all the cheapies you can get on AliExpress. Hey, Simple Electronics. Cold coffee. So yeah, I'm not going to bother. But it was fun. The idea, it was going to have a camera port or something to attach a camera, and a whole bunch of other things on there, but yeah, not worthwhile. Yeah. So the next thing for me is to get this project, this thing that's in my hand. I've got all the production boards here. I've got everything ready to go. And the truth is, with this thing, is I don't know what anyone's going to do with it. I don't know what its purpose is. And because I don't know what its purpose is, I'm reluctant to launch it. I've got some demos for it. They're all built in Platform IO. I've made a MicroPython port for the board for the product. It's not a board, it's a product. There might be more than one board. And yeah, so my patrons know about it. My patron supporters know about it. They've seen it. And even some people at the MicroPython meetup last week I went to have seen it. And everyone loves it. And people got lots of cool ideas. But at the end of the day, it's something that doesn't have a direct purpose. And therefore, I think the way I launch it is very important. Because if I don't launch it right, okay, so I'm sure this happens with everyone, right? Oh, that's a really cool bit of tech. I'm going to get one of those because I can do this with it, right? And then you never do. You get it or you don't get it, and you may tinker with it for a few minutes, or you might not tinker with it, but you never do the thing that you were planning to do with it, right? Which is fine. Look, I'm totally guilty of that. Oh my God, I'm totally guilty of that. But I think this if anything, is going to promote that more than not. So I think the launch of it, the launch announcement, whatever, is kind of critical to whether it's going to be successful or not. But there's an offshoot thing from this that I can't talk with you about, which is really cool. Well, it's just as cool, different, that I can't really talk about until I've spoken about this. Yeah. What a pain. Maybe I'll need to get things together ready, and then maybe next week I'll announce it. I want to announce it on a video, not on a stream though. My streams don't get enough views. Yeah, like again, it's an opportunity thing. Like I want to make sure that. So there's nothing like this in the market. Can you do a stream and launch a video at the same time? No, I'd have to do a launch video first, like, because once I've streamed, it replaces what's on my channel. Like it pushes the video down. Anyway, no, I mean, release the video during a stream. Yeah, no, that won't work. Yeah, that premieres. No, I don't want to do a premiere. People don't like those. Hey, Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Ready.
I don't know if anyone heard that.
Start.
Yeah. There's nothing really like this on the market. Which is good and bad. It can speak. It's not synthesized. Don't get too excited. ESP32 cannot do nice synthesized text, speech. It's also not going to the internet though, to speak. But that's all for another day. That's just one of the things. It's not about whether it speaks or not. It's an interactive device that has no purpose other than being fun and cool. But I'm not sure that's enough. Yeah. I'll try to get everything for next week, maybe. I don't think I'll get a video up in time. I don't know. It's a innovative, Simon says. No. Same. What could be said about you? What? Yeah. Okay. No. I'm. That was a terrible tease, but like it's ready. Like I'm ready to make. Like I've got some prototypes here. I've got some early builds here that are. Does it come with ChatGPT? No, no ChatGPT. Hey, Aaron. FPGA, LED, ESP32 S3. No. Catch you later, Dave. Have a good sleep. Can it teach my parakeet to talk? No. Well, it's a device that you have to program to make it do what you want it to do. That's the problem. So, can it teach your parakeet to talk? you could program it to do that, sure. But out of the box, it's just gonna it doesn't have a purpose. It's not a here's a watch and it's a watch, right? Or here's a clock radio, like, and it's just a clock radio. Like, this is a device it's a, when I say hackable, it's not hardware hackable. Doesn't need to be. It's a software hackable device that you can program it to do what you want. But that in itself means that it doesn't have a purpose unless you give it one. So it might ship with a whole bunch of things on it that it can do, demo things or fun things, play things. It's quite playful, but that doesn't make it something. Yeah, it's a dilemma. I've designed a really cool bit of that is awesome, and I have no idea what I'll do with it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. I've been stuck on it for a while. It's been ready for a while. I've had my stencils, production boards downstairs for a month and a half. Yep. The case is all designed and ready. I've been printing bits of cases and stuff. I seed some to some smart people and have them go, well, I offered that to my patrons / supporters and didn't get anyone taking me up on it. So, because it's a challenge, it's a challenging problem. That's what they said about the Rubik's Cube. Right, but that had one purpose, like it was one thing. This is the OMG WTF, but it's not OMG tiny. It's about this big. Yeah. About that thick. It's a thing. It's a thing. You get the thing. You can open the thing up to put a battery inside it, which I recommend. I can't ship it with a battery. It doesn't need a battery. You can run it off USB power. That's fine. But you can open it, and it's designed to fit like a battery like this size. You just slot it in the case and plug the battery in, and so it can be battery powered. But yeah, I offered for people to, I'll send them out one if they want to work on something cool that kind of showcases its features. But yeah, no takers, and that's fine. It's a time-consuming thing to write code. Pet Rock there. Yes, it did. Pet Rock made millions of dollars. This is a little bit more high tech. It's high tech to the point of maybe polarizing. I don't know. But yeah. Got to wait for, like, when I show you, you'll understand. You'll understand. I hope. Okay, folks. All I'm doing is teasing now. We're going in circles. So, I am going to wrap the stream up. It's been a nothing stream. Can it be used to control things? Yes, it can, if you program it to control things. It has Bluetooth. It has wireless. It can be both a Bluetooth HID device, or it can be a wired HID device. It has input and output. That's obscure. Don't think I/O. No, it's not an I/O input and output. It has. It is interactive. It's interactive with sound and visuals.
Ready.
Maybe.
Okay. 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 Up. Down. Up. Right. Left.
Whoops. That's a but.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Left. Left. Right. Right. Down. Up. Down. Left.
Yeah. Shouldn't have left that on. R2D2's brother. What? Wondering if there's anything that can do all the BT roles concurrently. Don't know what you mean. Like BLE roles, as in beacons and broadcasts, and you talking about that stuff? Okay, that was absolutely cold and disgusting. SP32 electronic battleship game, 2-player over Bluetooth. Possibly. Potentially hard to visualize. But sure. Yeah. Okay, I'll do my best to get this ready for next week. Ready to show you all next week, at whatever stage it's in. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. Next week, I'll reveal. It'll either be in a video first, or it'll just be on the stream next week. I will show you what this is. Okay. And then you can all be disappointed. Can I have arguments with Alexa? No. No. Well. So it's not. It's no. It doesn't do speech synthesis. That's not what it's designed for. It's yeah. So it's not going to just have a conversation. Whatever. Could you plug a keyboard into it, as in a like a typing keyboard? I don't know. You'd have to write some software for that. It's with a Chaos pad for synth music, USB MIDI thing. Could be. I mean, that's not what it is. Could you make a MIDI device? Could it be a MIDI device? Like that you... Sure. Like using USB MIDI? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like... Sure. There's lots of things it can be, that's the point. But as it ships, it's none of those things. It's about having a repository of a whole bunch of different things you can do with it that you can flash on there, but at the end of the day, it's about people playing with it and making it do what they want it to do. As I said, Wagon Lows, it can do MIDI. Any ESP32 S3, even S2, can do MIDI via HID. So yes. How many in-outs? What? How many? What do you mean by inputs and outputs? Define inputs and outputs. I/O, 0. It's not a development board. Is that what you're asking? How many I/O? like if you're going to do MIDI or HID or whatever, it'd be via USB. It's not a musical device. It's not a MIDI device. It doesn't have MIDI ports. It's whatever. I've not gone into the music industry. Yeah. It's a synth. It's a bad synth. MIDI's cool nowadays. MIDI's always been cool. It's got to come back now. It's time to come back. Zero. Aaron? It's not designed to interface with anything. It's not designed to plug into anything or have anything plug into it other than a USB cable. I said 0 wagon loads. It has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, yes. It's running off an ESP32 S3. So it can be programmed to do whatever an ESP32 S3 can do, as long as you don't need any I/O. But it's got a whole bunch of peripherals on board, like as part of it. Yeah, that'll keep you all guessing. Like I say, it's not a board. It's not a, like I generally make. I'm not answering that question, Simple Electronics. Can I play Doom? No. Well, no. I mean, it can run the code for Doom. It can run the code for Doom. Yeah. I didn't say that it had no display. Did not say that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Can it make me coffee? No. Well, the arm was never supposed to make me coffee. It was supposed to tip over my coffee. But no, it's could it be a mouse replacement? Sure. But then again, so can my watch. But yes, could be. Okay, thanks everyone. Keep guessing. You'll find out next week. And you're all going to be just super disappointed now. You'll all be super disappointed. Or not. Doesn't matter. My kids love it. Yaz loves it. Those that have played with it think it's cool. So, we'll see. An E-belt buckle. Yes, you wear it to hold your pants up. No. Hey, Michael. Wow, where did you pop in from? It is cool. I think it's exceptionally cool. Like, it's one of the... I think it's the best thing I've ever designed and made. Personally. It's the thing that I'm most proud of and the thing I'm most perplexed about. Yeah. I'm not answering more questions. You're being ridiculous now, Aaron. I think it's fantastic. Anyway. Yeah. What? That's what you want? Yeah, well, this is not it. So, yeah. Don't come looking here for that, because that ain't it. Okay, I'm going. Bye, everyone. Have a fantastic week. Look forward to sharing some stuff next week. Hope you have a... Yeah, don't stress too much over guessing. You'll just be even more unhappy with the result when you find out. Or not. I don't know. Hey, it's Micron. How you doing? Okay, bye, everyone. I'm just waffling. Bye. See you next week.